As I look around, I see that the uniform of choice for TEDx Ubud is a humble t-shirt, the lowest common denominator product that we can find anywhere and everywhere. So let's start with the t-shirt. For our t-shirts, the cotton is grown in one country and then shipped to another country to be beaten and bleached. Then it's shipped to another country to be spun into yarn. Then it's shipped to another country to be sewn into t-shirts. Then it's shipped to, let's say, Indonesia, where someone screen prints, "I love Bali," we'll buy it for 50 thou on Monkey Forest Road, wear it once and shove it in the closet, or worse, we put it in a bin and we forget about it. In the 15 years that I've worked in the fashion industry, I calculated I've watched more than 5,000 fashion shows in fancy cities like Paris and New York and London, Milan, Jakarta, Bombay. And everywhere I went, I saw there's this massive frenzy of shopping. And it almost feels like we are mistaking shopping for happiness. And the need for more and more, faster, not fewer, by a sense of boredom. You know, KPMG did a study recently and said that it was a study done in about 50 nations and said we no longer go shopping. We are shopping online all the time. And this has led to a world of stuffocation, a world where we are suffocated by the stuff we have accumulated over time, and our poor environment is bearing the brunt. Now, if you look at what waste are we talking about? Now imagine this. One garbage truck of clothes is either burnt or goes into a landfill every second. One garbage truck per second. So if you were in New York this summer and you looked at the Empire State Building, that's 1.5 Empire State Buildings that you can fill every second. If you were down under, that is enough waste to fill the entire Sydney Harbour in a year. So our humble t-shirt, do you know how much water it takes? It's the drinking capacity for one individual for 2.5 years. So I decided to go on a quest, a personal quest, to change my ways. I gave up my job in Vogue India after 13 years. I hope I bowed out gracefully and gratefully. I gave away or donated about 90% of my fashion goodies. I had accumulated so much I could have started a store. I'm a single mom. My daughter was 14 at that time, and we decided to leave Bombay, a bustling city of more than 20 million people, and we decided to move to Bali with 3 suitcases of bare necessities. And then when I got here, I started my journey, my personal quest, and my research into mindfulness in fashion and luxury. And the person who changed my path, philosophically, ideologically, professionally, was one of the most humble men who is celebrating his 150th birth anniversary this year, Mahatma Gandhi. You know, Winston Churchill at that time, who was one of the most powerful men, looked at Mahatma Gandhi and said, "That half-naked fakir." Fakir, the poorest of the poor, wearing just a loincloth. So what does he have to do with fashion? I was lucky. I chanced upon a phenomenal essay written by Professor Gonsalves from the Rome University. And the title of the story was "Half-Naked Fakir: Gandhi's Personal Search for Sartorial Integrity." I'm like, sartorial integrity? What does that mean? I mean, I know sartorial means fashion, but fashion and integrity? That seems so incongruous. Professor Gonsalves says, it's the search for truth through the clothing choices that you make in your life. And in Gandhi's journey for truth and authenticity, his clothes played a very symbolic, powerful role, which can perhaps put up a mirror to the consumerism of today. So let me divide his life into three parts very quickly so we can go through his clothing journey. When he went to London to study law, all he wanted to be was an English gentleman. He wore three-piece suits. He went for English elocution classes. So Gandhi wanted to be a dandy. Then he goes to South Africa to practice law. And at that time in South Africa, it was a very bigoted government. There were two types of Indians. Indians like Gandhi, who were affluent, educated, privileged, and there were the other Indians who were marginalized, didn't have the rights, and they were the laborers, the indentured laborers. But one day, when Gandhi is booted out of a train, he realized that neither his three-piece suit nor his first-class ticket was good enough for the government to think he was the other Indian. At the same time, he runs into a laborer who's been beaten black and blue and is holding a bleeding head. And when Gandhi sees this laborer, his name was Bala Sundaram, he felt a deep sense of shame that he had focused so much only on himself, and he wanted to make a change. And that change came when he gave up his Western attire and wore the white kurta or the white tunic and the white dhoti or the white sarong, and he called it the mourning robe. This was a pivotal part in his life because that showed that his journey in life had changed and his clothes were proving to be his moral compass in this journey of consciousness and understanding other people's suffering. Then he gets to India and he travels through the length and breadth of the country and sees that India is in the throes of British colonization. This country has been robbed of its wealth, of its dignity, of its jobs, of its spirit, and of course, Gandhi was there to make a change. So he started a movement, a clothing movement that changed the course of history, and it's called the Khadi movement. Now, at that time in India, cotton used to grow abundantly. So the colonizers would buy the cotton very cheaply in India, then ship them to the mills of UK, to the factories of UK, make them into what we can call fast fashion today, and then ship them back to India and sell it to Indians at a premium. So it killed the village economy. It killed the textile economy. It killed the spirit of the people. It took away their jobs. So Gandhi literally approaches his country and he says, burn the clothes that come from the mills of UK and pick up the spinning wheel and weave your own clothes. Can you imagine? I grew up in a country where historically they did this. Thousands of villages, thousands of people burnt their clothes and started weaving their own clothes as an act of protest, as an act of civil disobedience. Now, when he did that, the mills in UK came to a grinding halt, and eventually it played a pivotal role in gaining independence from British Raj. But when he told a nation, burn your clothes, the poorest of the poor didn't even have clothes to wear, leave alone burn. And at that time, he felt a sense of despair and shame that he still hadn't understood the plight of the common suffering man. And that's when he gives up the kurta and the sarong, and he wears the loincloth, a frugal khadi cloth. So when Winston Churchill called him half-naked fakir, Gandhi took it as a compliment. He said, now you see, you know that I identify with the poorest of the poor by the clothing choices that I've made. Now I'm morally transparent. Now that is sartorial integrity. In the robing and the disrobing of Gandhi, he followed many principles. But the one that resonated with me personally, and it's a strong part of Gandhian philosophy, is called ahimsa, or non-violence. Non-violence in thoughts, deeds, and actions. In fact, Gandhi himself said, non-violence is not a garment that you put on and off at will. The seat is in the heart, and it should be an inseparable part of your being. Gandhi was an activist, for social change through individual responsibility. So we need a world of activist designers, activist consumers who are committed to creating slowly, consuming slowly. Look, we've already done that in the food industry. The slow food movement has gained so much momentum all over the world. And here we are in Bali, the healing center of the world, and we go through all kinds of diets, some brutal ones, to cleanse our systems. There is no reason why we should not be on a fashion diet. There's no reason why we should not be on a shopping diet. Gandhi was called the conscience of humanity. And today, we make in the excess of 150 billion clothes every year, and we don't need that much. So let's remember what he said a century ago. There's enough for everyone's needs, but not for everyone's greed.